After a long flight through the vacuum of space, Goku finally stops, and Odisu, who was chasing him, also stops. Odisu comments on the fact that the energy of destruction has left planet Earth, and comments that this is a sign that he is not as indifferent as he wants to appear. On reflection, Odisu says that indeed, this beast could have destroyed Earth a few times, but held back his power. He can only conclude that Goku's consciousness was not fully mastered. For Odisu, this is a shame, as it means he couldn't extract Goku's full potential, but the maid says he has already spent too much time on this fight, and from now on, he will fight to put an end to it. Odisu says this as he begins to emanate an intense flame aura. With a mischievous smile of someone who noticed something the mage didn't want, the energy of destruction says that Odisu is actually running out of options. And when Odisu asks what he means, he explains that after Goku destroyed planet Chameleon and they fought in space, Odisu was forced to stop using the planet's natural elements and create those elements from his own power. And when he creates the elements, he expends almost twice as much energy as he does when he simply manipulates what is already there in nature. Odisu is very powerful and has a lot of energy to expend, but he also has a limitation because of a vessel, and the beast noticed this because it's something they have in common. In short, Odisu doesn't have as much energy left, and the fact that the beast left the planet and returned to space, where there aren't as many natural elements for the mage to use, will force him to expend a greater amount of energy, and that's why Odisu wants to end this fight quickly. After listening to all the remarks made by his opponent, Odisu admits that he is very perceptive. But it's not just him who's having this kind of problem. In fact, the energy of destruction doesn't have much energy to waste either, as Goku has used up a lot of the power of both of them before. And since the energy of destruction took over, spent a lot of power too, he's also out of time. The beast agrees with the maid, saying he couldn't be more correct. In that case, he will destroy Odisu with all his might. Both fly towards each other, ready to restart the battle. Universe 7, Planet Earth. Beerus is on the celestial platform as he senses the battle taking place in the other universe. He admits that Goku's opponent is powerful, but wonders if Goku is really going to allow his entire universe to be destroyed by his own power. As Goku and Odisu exchange intense blows, vibrations spread throughout the universe, and Liai feels it with great concern. Champa says the impact of their blows is resonating throughout the universe. He explains that until now, even though they were using an extraordinarily high level of power that could destroy the universe, they had been controlling and focusing their attacks in a way that wouldn't do as much damage to the universe. But now Goku's power is not being controlled as much as it should be, and the universe is suffering for it. Liai is saddened and surprised as she asks if Goku is causing all the damage to the universe. Champa confirms by answering yes and says that the other guy is still channeling his energy well, so that he doesn't cause harm to the universe. Goku, on the other hand, is increasingly maddened by his energy of destruction, which will not stop until he destroys everything he can. In a place far away from there, on the supreme planet of Universe 8, Liai is lying down while being watched by a Kaioshin assistant. This assistant is observing a large wound on Liai's chest, and after looking uses his powers to heal the destroyer, leaving the Hakaishin's body completely restored. But this comes at a cost to the apprentice, who faints in the same second. The Kaioshin named Iru observes that the apprentice spent so much energy healing Liai that he couldn't even remain conscious, and even then he couldn't completely restore to the destroyer because of his extraordinary power. But Liai doesn't want to hear about what happened to the Kaioshin's apprentice, he just wants to complain about the fact that the Kaioshin interrupted his fight. But Iru doesn't regret it, arguing that it was a losing battle and Liai knows it. At that moment, we see what happened in the recent past when Liai watched very scared the energy ring launched by Tyra coming towards him. In a moment, the slicing happened and the planet of the god of destruction of Universe 8 had been cut like butter. Liai apparently narrowly dodged the attack, but it cost him a very large wound in his chest, and that wound apparently left the fox god very badly. He looks up very worriedly and Taira asks if he'll be able to dodge the next one. She creates another ring, very excited, but at that moment someone appears behind Liai with a teleportation and touches the destroyer's shoulders, who, when looking, sees that it is his counterpart, the Kaioshin. Iroh uses the Hakai, taking both of them away. Taira is very disappointed, as she was starting to get excited. Returning to the present moment, Liai complains about the disaster that is her taking Hatch and wonders what he will say to the other gods. Iroh says that if he brought Hatch's cocoon, she would have come after them and killed them both. A defeat is better than death. The Kaioshin also reminds the Hakaishin that their lives are connected, so Liai must not make selfish decisions. Now, ignoring the Kaioshin and looking up at the sky, Liai thinks about Goku, wondering if he will be able to handle this enemy or will destroy his entire universe in vain. The fight between Goku and Odisu continues. This time, they are approaching what appears to be a sun. It's Goku who seems to be pushing Odisu there, and seeing an opportunity, he lands a kick on the mage, throwing him closer to the big star. Seeing an opportunity to use the environment to his advantage, Odisu points his hand at the sun and hurls the star towards Goku with telekinetic force. And as the star approaches, he disappears, leaving it to head towards Goku. The Hakaishin points his hand towards the sun that comes towards him, and then launches a wave of energy that hits the sun and destroys it in a second, causing a huge explosion that can be seen from far away in space. Afterwards, Odisu reappears behind Goku and tries an attack which is blocked. While having his blow blocked, the mage comments that the energy of destruction has just doomed an entire solar system, and that means he has finally set aside any remorse and is giving it his all. The beast of destruction warns the mage to prepare to see more. Universe 11. Toppo and Dispo are down, still unconscious. Meanwhile, Jiren and Belmont are in the middle of an argument. Jiren says that the Hakaishin had no right to do what he did, and he was the one who should face Calamore. But Belmont replies that what is happening is above them, and there's no room for personal matters now. Who knows what could have happened to the universe if Jiren fought Calamore completely enraged, but Jiren questions the Destroyer about the results of his absence. The Pride Trooper has been mostly destroyed, and Calamore has escaped. They suddenly stop arguing when they notice something. Belmont notes what has caught his attention as Goku's power and says that for his power to be felt in Universe 11, it's because it's completely out of control. Jiren is silent, very serious and concentrated. In Universe 6, the fight continues. Odisu lands an elbow to Goku's face, who responds with a knee to the mage, and the confrontation ends with each landing a punch on the other and then moving away. Goku immediately points his hand against his opponent, releasing a great amount of power, which is revealed in a powerful wave of energy that scares even Odisu, who needs to escape the attack immediately, letting the destructive energy go towards a nearby galaxy and completely erase that galaxy from existence in a huge explosion. Odisu is getting more serious, admitting that this is starting to get out of hand. But the Beast of Destruction doesn't care about that, and goes towards the mage, promising that he will destroy him. And not just Odisu, he will destroy everything. Liai notices the disappearance of a galaxy, the Western Galaxy. Champa, beside her, said this is nothing compared to what's to come, but Liai doesn't want to accept that and says that there must be something she can do. Champa says that Liai is useless trying to do something, and that she will die if she tries. He claims that the only creature in the universe that could do something right now is the angel, but apparently Vados is not present. Liai seems to see some hope in this, as angels are very strong, and Vados can do something about that. But she remembers Goku told her that Vados had to leave, so she's not in the universe. Champa concludes that if she had to leave, it is probably because of a call from the High Priest. At this point, Liai concludes that she must be in the Omni King's palace, and says that she has never been there in person. But Kiboru showed her on a map once. Realizing what Liai was planning to do, Champa tells her not to think about it, but it's too late, and the Kaioshin uses her Kai to disappear from there. Champa says this woman is crazy. If she invades a sacred meeting like that, she and the entire universe can be erased. Zeno's palace. Liai appears in the center of a corridor of angels, surprising them all. Seeing Vados, she's very happy and says that she needs her help, but then a voice calls for Liai, leaving her very scared. The one who called her was the Daishinkan, who doesn't have a very good expression. After getting the Kaioshin's attention, Daishinkan asks if she has any idea what offense she just committed. Only now realizing what she has done, Liai becomes very scared. and it begins by showing us solar system number 9086, which in an instant is completely destroyed by a colossal explosion. Those responsible for this are Goku and Odisu, who continue the fight in a very intense exchange of blows, while traveling through the vacuum of space. As he trades blows with the Beast of Destruction, Odisu remarks that he has lost count of how many solar systems his enemy has destroyed, and asks if he intends to destroy the entire universe. The Energy of Destruction replies that he has already said that he will destroy everything. They finish the exchange of blows while separating and then start to face each other. Odisu says that during the fight, he has been trying to contain the impacts of Goku's blows so that the universe is not completely destroyed. But even so, Goku is causing catastrophes that will soon result in the destruction of everything. It wouldn't be good for Odisu's plans if this universe is destroyed now, so he has to finish off Goku soon. The Energy of Destruction that possesses the Hakai Shin body is not interested in Odisu's plans for the universe. He just wants to know how Odisu intends to defeat him. The mage answers this question by invoking a technique. Such a technique he calls Incinerating Fist, which causes his hand to become enveloped in flames. The Energy of Destruction watches that technique closely, revealing in thoughts that the amount of heat Odisu's hand is emanating at that moment is so absurd that even for him it is uncontrollable to be near. He asks Odisu to show him what this ability does, and the mage does this by pointing his hand at a stone and touching it, so the stone is instantly turned to dust. The Beast of Destruction likes that, but says he also knows how to do something similar. He coats his hand with destructive energy, points to a stone and touches it. The next moment, the stone too is turned to dust. It seems that the two techniques reach the same end, despite having different concepts. After showing Odisu what his technique does, Goku says he's going to call it Fist of Destruction, and asks him what he thinks of the name. But Odisu threatens that soon he won't be bothering to name things anymore. Goku agrees, but says that this will happen because he will already have finished with the mage. Far away in Zeno's palace, the gathering of angels is taking place. The speaker is the Daishinkan, who gives a summary of the latest events, saying that with the destruction of the Super Dragon Balls and the kidnapping of the omniscient being called Zuno, the Celestial Mages took away two very important treasures. With Zuno in their possession, they certainly found the 5 great primordial beasts, which leaves everyone dependent on the gods of destruction to defend the cocoons. Taking into account the power level of this generation of gods, the High Priest concludes that the situation is not favorable for them. The High Priest's words make the Zenos worried. Daishinkan warns that they should consider the possibility that in a short time, Zarat will come back to life. Margarita, the angel of Universe 11, asks her father what the angels should do now. Daishinkan responds that despite the seriousness of this situation, the laws of the accord between this realm and their home realm say that the angels must remain out of combat. So while it's unlikely the gods can handle the threat of mages, unfortunately this is a situation they have to deal with. The most angels can do is guide the gods, as they always have. Guys, with these lines from the Daishinkan, we can see that in Dragon Ball Hakai, the angels do not originate in the Zenos realm. That is, in the same way the Celestial Mages belong to another realm, the Zarat realm. Angels also belong to another realm. Continuing with the story, just like the last chapter, someone arrives at the meeting. That person is Liai, who surprises everyone with her appearance, especially Vados. Liai is relieved to see Vados and says she needs her help, which leaves the angel a little surprised. Clearly not seeing that interruption with good eyes, Daishinkan calls out to Liai and asks if she has any idea of the seriousness of the offense she just committed. Liai immediately falls to her knees as she apologizes, but justifies her act by saying she needs Vados' help as Goku lost control while facing a mage who invaded Universe 6, and now he's on the verge of destroying the entire universe. Vados is troubled by this revelation while Liai pleads with the High Priest to let the angel return with her to save Goku and the universe. Daishinkan seems to think for a second, but it doesn't take long for him to give an answer, and his answer is no. He says it's the gods' responsibility to take care of their universes, and nothing justifies her intervention in this meeting. Daishinkan also says that because of her inelegance and breach of decorum, Liai's punishment could even be death. Eager to do something, the Zenos raise their hand and ask if they should erase her, which makes Liai freeze. But Whis politely intervenes, reminding the Zenos that if they erase Liai, they erase Goku as well. As their lives are connected, the Zenos rethink their decision. They shouldn't erase Goku for so little, since Goku is too nice for that. Liai thanks the Zenos for their decision, but says that if things continue as they are in Universe 6, Goku will die anyway. And based on that argument, she begs them to allow Vados to go with her. The Zenos look at each other, wondering what to do. In Universe 6, on a planet called Gasprant, two armies are about to clash. But they stop when they notice two things moving at high speed in the sky. It's Goku and Odisu who prepare for the collision with their fists coated in flames and destructive energy. The collision takes place in a huge explosion, where on one side the destructive energy destroys one army, and on the other, the flames incinerate their enemy. All this happened thanks to a simple collision of the fists of the two deities, and this collision does not only affect the armies, but the entire planet, which disappears in a huge explosion. Goku and Odisu continue to exchange blows amidst the remains of the planet, an exchange of blows that seems to be intense for both of them. The blows of the gods provoke even more vibrational waves that spread throughout the universe. In a Namek village, Saunel and Polina see this with great concern. On planet Sadala, Kaba also sees this from a city, while Kale and Caulifla, who were traveling through the sky with a group of soldiers, also see what is happening, and are impressed. From the balcony of his castle, King Krista sees the city being affected by this event, and then he looks reflectively and worriedly at the sky. On planet Earth, Champa also watches that calamity and accepts that the end has finally come. As the combat rages on, Odisu realizes that the universe is hanging by a thread, and he has to end it immediately. Goku blocks a punch from Odisu, but when the flame-clad fist lands, it incinerates his bracelet and burns his arm. But Goku immediately retaliates with a punch that the mage has to block, which also causes the destruction of his bracelet and injuries to his arm. Thirsty for destruction, the beast exclaims that he wants more, much more. In all other universes, all gods are aware of the extraordinary combat that takes place in Universe 6. Seeming to get the worst of the fight, Odisu notes in his thoughts that his body has reached its limit. The impact waves of their blows shatter a nearby celestial body, smashing it to pieces. Odisu tries to retreat, but Goku chases him and lands a kick on the mage, hurling him into another nearby celestial body. Goku says that the mage will not run away now, and this offends Odisu, who charges at him asking if the beast thinks he is a coward, and telling him not to underestimate him. Goku tries to land a punch on the advancing enemy, but Odisu dodges and lands an upward punch that would hit Goku's chin if he didn't move his body back. But Odisu's hand touches the collar of Goku's uniform, incinerating it. Odisu is surprised that he dodged it, and the beast yells that he is the one who shouldn't underestimate him. Goku's punch hits Odisu in a destructive blast. The blow landed on the mage's shoulder, destroying his shoulder pad and apparently rendering his arm useless. And after doing so, the Beast of Destruction prepares the final blow, but is completely surprised when something hits him. A large stone stake, which pierces his body. With an expression that suggests anger or frustration, Goku holds still the hand with which he would land the final blow on Odisu, and then lets his blood seep through his teeth. He looks down wondering how that happened, how that big rocky stake hit his body. Odisu asks if he thought it was for nothing that he came among these rocks while they were exchanging blows. And as he straightens his shoulder, he answers the question himself by saying of course not. Waving his arm to check that it's okay, he says that Goku was so confident about starting to win that he forgot to observe things around him. He says that while they were fighting, he began to use his magic to discreetly manipulate one of the many stone blocks that were around, creating a stone stake. And so he waited for the right moment, thinking he would land a final attack that Odisu couldn't defend against because of his injured arms. Goku let his guard down, and that was the right moment for him. Odisu says it's time to end this, and then with his hand coated in flames, he uses his incinerating fist, piercing through Goku's body while turning the stake that was there into dust. As Goku receives this attack that surely put an end to the fight, all the other gods of destruction and Champa feel that moment with great concern. One of them had just fallen. After this extremely damaging attack, Goku reverts to his base form, his white hair giving way to his usual black. Odisu admits that for a moment, Goku put him through a tough time, and if he had paid more attention to his surroundings, he could have won. But unfortunately, his intense desire to see his enemy's destruction blinded him, and that was his defeat. It's ironic, right? In the end, the energy of destruction's thirst for destruction led him to his own destruction. Odisu removes his hand, leaving a hole in Goku's body, who lies paralyzed in the vacuum of space and begins to float. Goku finally regains consciousness as his previously blackened eyes have returned to normal. Odisu comments this with a smile, perhaps missing the regular Goku. Very frustrated, the protagonist asks why. He fought like a god, he fought like a mortal, and he fought both ways. why couldn't he still defeat his enemy? Odisu responds that he's already told him that before. Goku denies his power of destruction because he fears it, and that's why he lives in constant conflict with his own power. His relationship with his power is one of rivalry, not unity. Odisu comments that while he was in control, he just stole the power of his energy of destruction to use as he pleased. They fought apart the whole time, one trying to dominate the other in constant conflict. He ends his speech by asking how a god who is in constant internal conflict could win an external conflict. Odisu adjusts his other arm, and as he moves his hand around to test the recovery, he admits he's being a little hypocritical, as he isn't quite in harmony with his counterpart either. The difference between them is that Goku is in conflict with who is housed inside him, while Odisu is in conflict with the person he is housed in. Goku asks what he's talking about. Odisu explains that since he took over the body of this man named Anzen, he still hasn't been able to fully adapt his power to him. And because he still hasn't adapted to that body, the level of power he can use is still limited. Odisu says that when he managed to release one of Anzen's transformations, he was also able to release more of his original power. But even so, he still has a long way to go to reach his ideal level. He says there's actually still a reasonably long way to go for him to fully adapt to his body. Goku begins to understand where he's going and begins to worry. Odisu confirms his concerns. All the power Goku saw him use in the battle is only a fraction of his original full power. Goku is in denial, unable to believe it. Odisu seems satisfied, revealing that he has already accomplished all of his goals in the universe. In Chameleon, he managed to recover Hero, and during their fight, he was able to measure the maximum potential of the gods of that realm. Goku asks what he means by measuring the power of the gods, and as he starts accumulating electrical energy in his hand, Odisu explains that among all the gods of destruction, Goku is the youngest and has the most potential, therefore he was an unknown. Even if Goku is not the strongest among the gods, measuring his power was important for the mages to know what they will face in the near future. But Odisu says that after discovering Goku's mental and moral limitations today, he concluded that he was never a real danger to them. Odisu says that with the wound he has now, Goku would die in no time, even being a deity, but it doesn't hurt to be prudent and finish him off at once. He states that because Goku's power is so low, with this attack his body will be completely disintegrated. Odisu launches his attack. Goku is in trouble because he's so low on energy that he can't even teleport. That's the end. Odisu's lightning spear barrels towards him, and as the attack closes in on him, Goku closes his eyes waiting for his end. But as the spear cuts through the vacuum of space at breakneck speed, something else approaches at even greater speed, overtaking Odisu's lightning and deflecting Goku out of its path. Odisu is in shock when he sees who is there. It's Vados and Liai who just saved Goku's life. Looking at Liai, Odisu understands what happened. The Kaioshin brought the angel with her teleportation. Seeing Goku agonize in pain, Liai worriedly asked him to hold on. Odisu asked Vados what she intends to do, as even she couldn't handle him without using a considerable amount of her own power. And they know what happens to angels who use their real powers in a fight. But Vados is cynical in her response and tells Odisu that Goku seems to have given him a bit of trouble. So maybe she didn't even need to use that much power to finish him off. The answer annoys Odisu a bit, but Vados says she's just kidding. She doesn't intend to take any chances. Just one word from Liai and they could go anywhere in the universe. And with her inside that shield, Odisu couldn't stop her from doing that. In short, the mage's party is over. Unexpectedly, Odisu smiles and admits that she's very shrewd, as expected of an angel. He agrees and says he'll accept that he won't be able to take Goku's life today, but that doesn't matter. He won't be able to change the course of their plans. In fact, it will even be advantageous for him to have Goku alive. Liai is angry and asks why he would want Goku alive. At that moment, Odisu makes his announcement, ordering that his words be spread to all gods and mortals. In 6 months, a great attack will come. A multiversal attack that will have as its objective the extermination of all 12 universes of Zeno's realm. Everyone must be prepared for the massacre to come. Liai asks why he's warning him about this. What's his plan? The mage says she'll find out soon enough, and then he says there's nothing else to do here, and bids everyone farewell. But before going, the mage has his attention called by a scream from Goku, who continues to agonize. With determination, Goku promises Odisu that he will defeat him. He smiles and says they'll see. In the form of lightning, Odisu leaves there, cutting the immensity of space.